is harvest day numero 5 here at the farm. I'm just about to take off with the combine. Dad's heading out with the soybean trailer up there. Gonna go get some more beans out. Here we go. We'll take the parking brake off. Joystick controls the speed, so we'll start ramping that up into road gear, and away we go. We made it to the 160-acre field we're gonna be combining today. We'll hit accept on the screen, that way it'll map everything over there. And come to the iPad, make sure that's all hooked up how we want. He's pulling in with the head. Just go 3 more feet. A little more. Oh. I gotta hook it up, but let's just cut to the fun part. Well, I made it literally 20 feet. I've completed 1.8 acres of this field, and the screens have died inside the cab. They just went black. I tried resetting the key, but all it wants to do is just keep spinning and spinning and spinning. Basically spinning my patience to 0 is all that's happening so far on the computers. I killed power to everything inside the cab by shutting the battery off in the back, and now it looks like our screens are finally back on. With the computer on, now the problem is for some reason the head doesn't want to go down and stay in the down position. Literally made it from way back there where the grain cart is to here. That's all we've gotten done today. So Dad's gonna try cleaning out the hydraulics. Maybe there's a bad connection going on in there. We'll give that a try. Start the combine, start the header. Now I should just be able to push number 2 and the head will go down. We'll try it. No, it wants to keep coming up. I think the problem is something inside this hydro handle here. So I'm gonna see if I can find some help in the book. Thankfully, this isn't a pop quiz. It feels like a pop quiz since I should be harvesting beans, but we'll find it. Well, after flipping through page and page and page of both operators' manuals and going into the diagnostic control screen and trying to calibrate the head here we sit in the combine waiting for John Deere to come out to hopefully solve what I think is an electrical issue between the combine and the bean head. It's an hour and a half later now, and we figured out what the problem was. The John Deere technician, we ran through all the voltage, we checked all the height sensors, they all checked out good, but there's a small black spring that resets the height adjusters when the head gets all the way raised, and as you can tell, this little black spring broke on one side when we went over where the big, deep sprayer tracks are. So now I'm running into town, I'm gonna pick up a couple extra ones of these, and we'll hopefully keep working on that field tonight. Since it's after 5 o'clock, the store's already closed, but they haven't been outside that I believe our spring should be in. Show you where this spring broke off on this side. The new spring is a bit bigger. I'm not sure if this old spring just broke that much off or if this isn't the right actual spring, but it's got to get looped around this little bolt here and brought down to that hole. I better double check the other side to say for sure. It goes all the way down in here. I was wrong. I thought maybe it went in that hole, but we got to tie it all the way down. You get it down. Start it on the bottom first.
I didn't even have to look at that to know.
Bingo. Spring's back on. You think this is going to work?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Moment of truth. Drop the head down. Hit number 2.
So that sprayer track is going to happen again.
Just punch her down. It doesn't go down? Move your finger. Calibrating. Got the header calibrated now. 4 hours later since the time when all this stuff started, but we're about to keep combining a little bit of beans. With the sun going down now, we only got the headlands off on this one north side. You can't really combine soybeans once the sun goes down because the moisture starts to pick up and then the beans get rubbery and don't shell out of the pods as easy. So we're just parking everything there for tonight. We'll see you guys back in the morning when we pick things up here. It is the next day now. Somehow Last night, between yesterday and today, I lost one of my high-tech farmer hats. So we're throwing a little retro here today. But the first thing we gotta get done today, Dad's coming with the pickup truck. We gotta go get something from town. On the way back from town, we stopped at the soybean field we were working at last night. Dad jumped out. He's gonna start combining a little bit here, and we're gonna head back to the farm and get the motor out of the truck. By the looks of it, once we're done combining beans, the corn is gonna be dried down and ready for harvest. The problem with the motor was there's these bearings on the inside of the shaft. Given this motor's only a year old, so this is kind of unforeseen why this happened, but the bearings were bad. So the guy put in a couple new bearings inside there, cost about 250 bucks, but we'll get this put back on the bin later. Now Mom and I are heading back out to that field where Dad started this morning with the combine. Are you looking forward to combining today?
I look forward to combining every day. As long as we don't break down and I have to get out of my tractor.
Oh, then you like it?
Well, better than when I'm out of my tractor.
Oh, okay.
When it's hot, the ladybugs get me, and when it's cold, I don't like the cold.
All right. Well, she's gonna be in the grain cart. I'm gonna hop into the combine when we get there.
So you don't want to bend anything on your head or ruin your hydroflex, so you just have to slow down.
All right.
Watch your pressure. Watch your clean grain sample.
Switching time. And I am off combining some beans. Cruising along about 4.5 miles an hour. Beans here yielding about 60 bushels to the acre. The downfall is this field has a lot of drowned out spots like this one we're about to come up to that we're just gonna go around and not harvest since we don't want to plug anything on the combine. So we got to be very diligent to make sure we don't get any wet beans in the head. This is getting to be a pain in the butt. We got this one drowned out spot here, several others across the farm, and it prevents me from going a whole half mile around. So I got to raise the head up and then swing back around onto the other side of the drowned out spot to keep combining. And back down the header goes on the other side. Well, I was just about to make and start unloading on the go. We turned around here at the end, looked into the bean head, look what we found. A rock. This thing can cause a lot of damage in a $500,000 machine, so had to get out and grab this thing. That way it didn't cause any damage today. Here goes our first time unloading on the go. Now we're putting machine sync to the test. So when you hear that little chime there, now if I slow down or speed up the combine, the grain cart will follow suit because we're now syncing speed and distance between the combine and the grain cart.
I finally got machine sync to work. I was using F1 and I could only go 10 miles an hour, which was not keeping me up. I forgot I have to be in F2, so now we're going along, and lucky for me, I don't have to drive anymore, so I can video or play on my phone. But I'll show you a little bit about what I do. There's machine sync, and it just kind of follows along, and then Matthias can push me ahead or back, however position he wants, especially with all these wet beans and the dry ground. It's easier for him to be able to control me and get hopefully in the position he wants me.
I had to jump back out of the cab now because we're coming up on a spot of the field where you can see there is a couple more green leaves and yellow leaves on plants, and I want to make sure that all the beans that we're going to be harvesting in this spot that looks a little bit yellow, that they're all ready to be harvested, because we don't want to put wet soggy beans in the bin, and we definitely don't want to plug anything on the combine by going through something we shouldn't. I better double check right up here again. I hate to screw anything up. Yeah, these ones are pretty rubbery. Gosh, I don't know. The real farmer test is you take the bean out of the pod, throw it on your back molars. If it gives a nice crack, it's nice and dry. If you don't hear the bean crack when you put it in your mouth, then it's still a little bit wet. I made the decision, right or wrong, we wouldn't be back to this field for at least 3 weeks we're gonna go through this little bit of higher moisture soybeans. Another questionable spot we're approaching. Those ones look like they might be too yellow. The only way to know is really to get out though. Are these beans gonna be dry enough to go through the combine? Or are we gonna have to go around? Oh, these ones are too rubbery. We'll go around this little swale that comes in the field too. It obviously tells me here on the display what the moisture is as the beans are entering the head and the combine. But if I am already harvesting soybeans that are say 20, 25%, by the time it comes up on that screen, those beans are already back in the tank. The damage is already done. So that's why I gotta keep getting out, checking the soybeans before we're able to harvest through certain spots and decide if we're gonna go through them or if I'm just gonna leave them and go around. Round and round I go around another wet hole. It just takes a lot longer because I gotta circle the wet spot like I'm doing up here, and then I gotta basically split the field in half the lengthways after. Right up here is our next drowned out spot. Let's start etching around it.
Take off, go home, make some supper. So Mike's in the cab with me. He's gonna run the grain cart, and I'll go back and make supper. You excited to run the grain cart?
Oh yeah.
You are?
Walk in the park.
Okay, do you want me to wait for the first time, see how it goes?
Don't care.
Okay, we'll see. Let's put it in gear and let's go forward. Go. Okay, follow as close as you can. Put the throttle to wide open. Hit F2. Hit auto. Listen for the beeps. Okay. Now you can't touch anything. Make sure you're following the way it should. You hear the beep again, that means that the auger's going. It'll also show you on the screen that the auger's going. And it shows that right here, right there on the screen, it shows where the auger's going. And that's it. And then you can just tag along. Just make sure if he comes to a stop or he does something unusual, you have to be ready to hit the clutch because you will disengage. So I always make sure on the column that has the auto going. Any questions?
No.
We're still chugging along, combining beans, things are going good, but Mom and Dad switched. Dad's taking over the grain cart now. We still have a hired guy in the semi. Mom went home to make something to eat. But Dad's pretty fresh to the grain cart and pretty fresh to trying out machine sync where I can control the grain cart from inside the combine, so we'll see how this goes. Looks like he's got it. His hands are off the steering wheel. As long as this sync beeps, there's the beep. You know he's locked in with me, so now I am controlling everything with him, so I'll start unloading. You can see if I switch screens here, not that one, not that one, that screen. He's tracking. If I want to move him a little bit forward, I just hit this button. It moved him 3 foot forward, and there he moved forward. I think Dad's getting the hang of the machine sync thing. I guess we'll see. We're supposed to be unloading right now on the go. I see him back there. You keep hearing the noises in the background. It's him trying, failing, trying, failing. We'll see if he gets it. Otherwise, we might just have to unload at the end. I spoke too soon about Dad getting the machine sync going, because here we are, stopped in the middle of the field, not unloading on the go. We have about 100 acres done of this farm. We just stopped for a little bit of supper. This is the last drowned out spot we need to go around, probably the biggest one. We're gonna go around this, then hopefully finish the farm yet tonight. Mom came back to take over the grain cart now when she brought out supper. And look, she doesn't have her hands in the steering wheel over there in the grain cart. We're able to unload on the go. It is several hours later now. Normally a field this size, 160 acres, would only take us about 8 hours. But right now, I'd say we're about 10 to 11 hours in so far for the day. And you can see here on the map why. All those purple spots that don't have yield data on them, those are all regions of the field that are still unharvestable. the plan for those spots is to probably come back in about 3 weeks time once those beans are nice and dried out. The only thing that's going to stop them from drying out is either wet weather, a little bit of snow, or a hard frost that might kill those beans before the beans inside the pods actually harden up. But only time's going to tell what's actually going to happen with the beans in this field and a lot of the other soybean fields that we're yet to get to that are still green. Last 5 feet of this field. And if you're interested and want to see how the rest of the harvest season plays out after the massive flooding we had here on my farm in June, I'd encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below, because with that, we finished the field. That's it for today's video of High Tech Farmer. Thank you everyone so much for watching. We'll see ya in the next one.